All right, welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Ethan Shirazi. This is Downtown Lakers. A week of a hiatus, and we are back. So I know there were people that were kind of annoyed by that, but hey, we're back. We're ready to go.
We're back, man.
Ethan, good to see you, my guy. Obviously, we've
Yes, sir, man.
Kept in touch since, but the Lakers, they've had a rough stretch here. I mean, 3-3 in those 6 games, but it's tough with the injuries, man. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about what, of course, happens when you have those injuries. You get guys like Bronny James playing almost, at 30-something minutes. And you learn a lot about your team in that aspect. So I'll start off by saying this. I like that they just went all in and they just sat everybody last night. I think it's the smart approach. They kind of had to deal with uncharted waters the other teams aren't dealing with, playing all of these back-to-backs and all these games in a short amount of time. So I actually think this was a really good decision from JJ Redick. But in addition to that, you also, as I just mentioned, learn more about your team in the process. So guys like Goody are playing way more. Guys like Bronny are playing way more. Alex Len is getting opportunities, and he doesn't look the best, but he looks a lot better than being tossed into a game, a meaningful game, late in the game, right? So it was good to see that. It's good to see Jackson Hayes, be able to kind of do his own thing with those guys out, albeit he wasn't dominant. But you can see that. You can see the depth here. You can see guys like Shake Milton. I mean, these are guys that could be really important come playoff time. And we'll get into it, but obviously when you have the officiating as bad as it is, and you got these guys in foul trouble, I mean, you're probably going to need Shake Milton in at least one of those playoff series, I'd imagine. So, I'm excited to dive into it, but what was your first takeaway from last night, man?
I mean, last night, like you said, we were playing with most of our bench guys, bench warmers. Like LeBron was still out, Rui's still out. No Luka, no Vando, no Finney-Smith. So, I mean, honestly, I thought it was just like a rest game, to be honest with you. I mean, playing 6 games in 8 days, it's not easy at all. I mean, at least Lakers have a day off today. Tomorrow playing against the Bulls at home. Then we go on a 4-game road trip starting on Monday in Orlando. So I think it's probably the right move with only like 13 games left in the season. So, the more rest, the more better, so we can have a healthy squad in the playoffs.
No, absolutely. I get that entirely. Like I said, I really do like the decision here. I know some people are going to be against it because momentum is so important and building it. But the thing about the Lakers is that they got an older roster. They got some young guys, but let's not forget, I mean, they do have, an old LeBron James here that they have to take care of. And if the ultimate goal, and not really the ultimate, but it is the main goal, it doesn't even have to have an ultimate next to it. The main goal in LA is to win a championship. Then you have to do what's best in that moment. And the best thing in that moment is to sit LeBron James and let him really work his way back from this injury, is to sit other guys like Jared Vanderbilt that are so important. He's dealing with a groin. Don't even risk it, right? Same thing goes for Luka. You see Luka doing what he's doing. I know they were scrutinized by having Luka play all those minutes in a game where, quite frankly, they dominated. Same thing with Austin Reeves. So they get an opportunity, and JJ Redick doesn't just do things for how they look on the outside. I mean, he does things to try and win games. And, I think that's an important thing, is that just because, you might be throwing in the towel to an extent last night does not mean that he's not trying to win games, because if throwing in the towel in this game allows them to have a long run in the playoffs, then so be it, obviously. So let's talk about Bronny James to start off here. Yep. Really heavily scrutinized. I mean, since he's been drafted, a lot of, pushing of the nepotism card, which I don't love, because there have been plenty of players in the past that have had that bloodline. And I think Bronny has been unfairly treated. I've been very vocal about that on social media. Bronny comes out, and if you defend Bronny, this was the type of game that you were waiting for. 30 minutes. He shoots 70% from from the field, 50% from 3 on 4. Had a one free throw which he hit. He had
17 points,
3 rebounds, 5 dishes, 1 block even, and 17 points. That really kind of eliminates the argument that this guy doesn't belong at this level. Albeit, he was playing in a game that the Lakers, nobody was really in there. And at the end of the game, this thing was a blowout and he was getting points at that point. But the juncture that I'm talking about, the thing that really stands out to me, Ethan, is when he's going up one-on-one with, Giannis. And I think the thing about that moment is that it kind of encapsulates what you're really hoping for him. He has not fully, because you can still see there's kind of a little bit of a hesitation, but at least in this game, you really started to see him get comfortable. And I thought JJ Redick said it best. We're really waiting for him to become that elite, conditioned athlete. You see him with his hands are on his knees. He's exhausted. He's played 30 minutes. He doesn't do that at the NBA level. And you could see that. So I agree with him. I don't think he's quite there as far as like a conditioned athlete. I think he's a good athlete, but he's basically saying he's going to be an above average to very good shooter. And this is coming from somebody that was one of the better shooters in the game. So I'll take JJ Redick's word, but how did you feel about Bronny's, emergence? That was a big time emergence in the NBA.
I mean, obviously, we give him opportunity to really show what he can do with all those players out. So he definitely took advantage of the opportunity. And, 17 points, which I believe, which is career high. I thought he played pretty good, considering, everyone was out. So obviously, the more minutes he could play, the more minutes, he could show everybody what he can do. So, yeah.
No, I agree. And I think the thing that's really important here is that he's getting these minutes in games that, maybe Lillard was out, but I mean, he was still playing against most of their starters. And, when you get that actual experience, there's nothing that you can do in a practice setting or the G League setting that can simulate what you're going to go up against. This is a good Milwaukee Bucks team. They're 39-30 now. This was a really nice opportunity for Bronny to go up against some legit talent, and no one could hold it against him in this one. I thought here's the things that I saw. I saw a guy that can be a slasher at the next level. I saw a guy that can be a distributor. You would think that the young, immature kid that barely even played in college would be just jacking up 3-pointers. Only shot 4 of them, despite the fact he made 2 of them. I thought they were good shots, not ill-advised. I liked his shot selection. What I really liked is how I think he's similar to his dad in a sense where when he's driving, he still is looking for that kick-out pass in the corner. Exactly. This isn't a ball hog, so to speak. So I think he fits very well with what the Lakers are trying to do. There were multiple times where I thought, he could have been a ball hog in this scenario. He, throws a nice dished pass to Markieff Morris under the basket, or, somebody you don't even see on, the TV screen. All of a sudden, Dalton, Connect is in the corner hiding, and then he drills a 3. I thought, the 5 assists were really kind of showing you the barometer of where he's at right now. And I think he's a comfortable player that still needs to get more comfortable. And he's a good athlete that still needs to become an elite athlete. But he has a lot. And I'll say this right now, he's going to be a good player in this league. But if the Lakers need him in the playoffs, he might be able to give him some minutes off the bench. I'm not saying I'd rely on him to play 30 minutes, but if he gives him 10 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. But it's only his first year in the NBA. Every rookie takes time to really develop and become a good player in this league. So, don't be surprised in a few years where he can actually be potential all-star. So, the more work he puts in, the more things he can do in the NBA, especially learning from his dad and especially on the same team, learning from the veterans that are on the bench in the locker room. So, don't doubt on him. I mean, I truly believe he could be someone in this league. You never know.
No, I agree, completely. I think this league as it stands, we're talking about even first round picks, they give up on these prospects way too quickly. We know it's going to happen again. The Suns traded all those guys that they were developing for Kevin Durant, didn't win a championship with that. And now some team, some poor sap is going to give away 3 really good players to get Kevin Durant this offseason. It's the way the NBA works, but
it's the business.
I like the way the Lakers are operating. They're giving guys like Jordan Goodwin like a legit run to be on this roster. Dalton Connect, they gave him time. They understood that was a lot for a rookie to take on, a guy that's had a lot of success already. And that whole trade, that can really disrupt you. That can kind of kill your confidence. I think they gave him the ample time to get back. They never put too much pressure on him. And he looks like a comfortable player. He looks like a guy that's really going to help them out. Gabe Vincent is a guy that they could have given up on. Vincent's been really important in a lot of games this year. And he's that hustle points guy, right? Yeah. Jackson Hayes, they tried to get Mark Williams and they had him, and then they rescinded the deal, which I think, we've already talked about. I agreed with. And Jackson Hayes is kind of not just reaping the benefits. The Lakers are reaping the benefits for them trusting Jackson Hayes. And then you got guys like, Jemison and Shake Milton, guys at the bottom of the roster that don't really get talked about, but they can be some role players. I mean, Shake Milton came away with 6 boards last night, just some guard, right? So I like that, I like their roster. I feel like they are missing a guy or two, in normal, typical LeBron James type of bench going into the playoffs, but I don't think it's going to matter, Ethan. I really don't, as long as they stay healthy. I really think they are the best team in the West. I think OKC is going to be in trouble if they face them fully healthy. And I really think, the only thing that's going to stop the Lakers is the Lakers. I really think when everything is going their way, and that includes injuries being, kept down, of course, and, staying healthy, I don't think anybody's going to beat them in a 7-game series.
Absolutely. I mean, talking about OKC, we play them twice in a row next month on the road. So that'll be a huge test for our squad. So we can actually show what we can do with a new roster, including Luka and, all these other guys. So we can have a potential Western Conference Finals matchup there. So if we can really show the world what we can do against OKC, then, everyone will fear us in the West, especially in the East if you, play in the finals. So, yeah, you never know.
No, you really never know, right?
You never know.
Next up, you got Chicago, you got Orlando, you got Indiana, right? So Chicago, they're currently sitting at 30-40. So that is going to be the game. What it sounds like tomorrow, they are hopeful for LeBron James and Rui to be back.
Right.
That is huge. Rui's been out for a minute now. So it'll be nice to have him. And obviously LeBron James, we kind of knew he'd be back earlier. But there is, some of that threat that does that injury linger? I think they're going to be careful with it, but they also have to win games. They can't just not play their starters and just coast. They're trying to get a top 4 seed in the West. And this is an opportunity to do that. Like I said, you got, Chicago, you got a bad Orlando Magic team. The Pacers are good. The Pacers have won 40 games, but then you got Chicago again. And then you got Memphis, and that game's important because Memphis is right in the thick of things, right?
Right.
Then you have Houston, and Houston, that game's really important, And then you have Golden State, and that game's important. So, having these guys back for that stretch, because then you're going to have OKC back-to-back, like you mentioned. The Pelicans should be an easy win. They've won 19 games this year. There's opportunities here for the Lakers to really run roughshod of the next, 15 or so games. And so I am excited for that. I think this came at the right time, but I also just feel like JJ Redick has a plan and he's just following that plan. I don't think it's anything crazy. I think he knew way before we got the word that Luka wasn't going to play. I think he knew way before we got the word that Austin Reeves wasn't going to play last night. Yep. And I think it's all part of the puzzle. I mean, do you love taking all those losses after all those wins? No. But they had some injuries, and now they're trying to deal with them. And, we're looking at a team that's going to be fully healthy soon. So, knock on wood, that they stay that way. But this is going to be a really tough team because it's not just a team that can score on you. It's not just a team with shot creators. It's not just a team that gets the hustle guys, the hustle points, but their defense has just taken another step. And Mike Malone even said that. I mean, regardless if you like him or you hate him, Mike Malone came out and basically was like, this is a completely different Lakers team than I'm used to. And you could tell the frustration, everything. I mean, they skeeted by on that last game. You know, and I feel like that's the thing. Like when the Lakers lost that game back on, you know, Friday, I think it was March 14th.
Yeah, in Denver. Yeah.
That right there, I think Mike Malone knew it. That's why he crumpled the box score and everything. He knew this team has significantly, if not already, closed the gap entirely.
Oh, it's a different squad, man. Different squad. I mean, look, everyone expected us to lose that game, which we did. But then again, like our bench warmers really showed out. Like we lost by only, I believe, we only lost by 5 points. I mean, Austin made that that layup that, you know, pretty much almost won us the game, and then Denver went on a run and Murray hit that shot at the end. But, you know, Lakers really showed themselves that, you know, without LeBron and Luka and other guys, we can actually compete. The guys on the bench and other guys that have an opportunity to play and, you know, show what's up. So, you know, that's a massive thing that's coming in the playoffs. But yeah, that's huge, especially coming defensive end.
Yeah. No, definitely. Just want to let you guys know that we are on YouTube, and I know a lot of people are watching right now on Twitter. But if you could do us a favor, you like this, be sure to check us out over on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. We're growing slowly, 229 subscribers. So definitely be sure to check us out there. Slowly but surely, we are growing this channel. So yeah, again, you know, the link is over on Twitter. I just posted under, you know, my video that I posted. So
like, subscribe, share, all that stuff.
No, absolutely. So how do you see tomorrow night going? Do you think LeBron is going to be on a pitch count? Like how do you see that?
I was going to say that. So if LeBron does play, I expect him to at least have like a little minutes restriction, just to be a little cautious about that. And then Rui, if he does play, I think I have, you know, also a minute restriction too, just because, you know, we've shown that, you know, whenever a player comes back, you also want to be cautious with the player, just like how Luke came back. We have him on a minutes restriction, and then last few games after that, he played a lot more minutes. So, you know, our coaching staff has been really cautious about that moving forward after injuries. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the smart approach for sure. Do you think everybody plays, or do you think that they'll hold out some guys?
I think today's gonna be like a rest day for everybody, especially yesterday's game. So I believe everyone will be on the bench ready to play, and then maybe at least one or two players will miss out just because, you know, they'll be resting for the 4-game road trip coming on Monday. But yeah, I believe most of the guys will play tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I do too. I know there were some people that were a little concerned about Luka not playing yesterday, but I think that was just a rest. Like I don't think he aggravated anything. I think he's good to go. Same thing with Reeves. Right. Like I said, I think it's all part of the plan. I don't think they do anything for the show of it. I think JJ knows what he's doing, and, you know, that's that. But
right. And then, you know, when I went to the game on Wednesday versus Nuggets, I was like, should I go on Wednesday or Thursday? Because it's a back-to-back game. I don't know if someone will be held out or not. So I decided to go on Wednesday. It turned out to be a good idea, since everyone was playing that day, except for LeBron. But, you know, it sucks that everybody had to pay that money to see them lose by 30 points yesterday, especially thinking that Luka would play. But it's part of the business. It sucks, but yeah,
that is true. I feel for the people that were at least expecting Austin Reeves to go last night, and they end up getting the B team or even the C team to a degree.
Right.
Still showed a lot of heart though. You know,
absolutely.
I still say this, and maybe this is sour grapes, maybe it's not, but I'm texting you, we're watching the game, and it's like, I know they have no chance of winning, but they couldn't even keep it close because all the calls that Giannis gets, man. I mean, he's second in the league in fouls, drawn, only behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who they'll see twice next month, like you mentioned, on back-to-back. But yeah, I like Giannis. So it's not me like being a hater and necessarily not liking him, but I think at some point or another, like the fouls have to be, I guess, fair. I mean, I was watching where Giannis would be properly defended, no contact either. Like nobody contacted him. And it's like the refs are waiting for him to miss that layup, and then
they call the foul.
Whistle. And it's like, I know the way it comes off is like, oh, it's just like a bunch of Laker fans that are just like, you know, bitter.
I mean, it's common sense. If you know basketball, then that's obviously, you know, either a foul or not a foul, you know?
That's the thing. And I feel like that kind of hurts any chance. Like I thought that they called a pretty fair game against the Nuggets, which that sounds weird to even say, but they called a pretty fair game against the Nuggets on that Friday. And I think that's why that game was as close as it was. You know, I had some issues with some of the calls, but, you know, I'm always going to have issues with some of the calls. I think the issue is basketball can be such a fun sport when they let them play, but the constant stoppages of the game, and it's like, it really puts a lot of pressure on you. And when you don't have a shot creator, like we saw last night, there wasn't a guy like even Bronny, to an extent, he just isn't at that level yet where he feels comfortable enough to, you know, find that hidden spot and be able to just, you know, hit that pull up. Whereas you trust a guy like Luka and Austin Reeves and LeBron, those are your shot creators. But like Bronny needs to at least get, like, he has to step into, you know, a knockdown three or whatever. And that becomes really frustrating because when you're not scoring and you don't have that shot creator and you don't have that guy that can kind of take over the game and kind of trade baskets, well, that's how you get behind by 20, 30 points, because if you're constantly missing on one end and then they're going to the other and Giannis isn't even coming close to hitting the rim on some of his layups and they're, you know, he's generating, you know, foul calls. I mean, that's a concern. So that was a little frustrating to watch. Like I said, the Lakers were never going to win that game. I just would have liked to see them keep it close, but I feel like they didn't really have a chance to do that because of the way it was called. For those of you who are wondering, you know, what that even means, the Bucks shot 34 free throws. The Lakers shot 16. That doesn't mean that the Lakers weren't going into the paint. I mean, you still saw Bronny. He got fouled on one by Giannis, no call. You know, you still see guys like Jemison who's going up and he gets swatted on the arm, no call. And it's like, obviously, you know, the officiating, it is what it is. I always have this kind of rule of thumb. The officiating is pretty much going to be bad in any sport. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Can I say this? But, I mean, out of all sports, I believe that NBA has the worst officiating. I mean, there's absolutely no question. No question. I mean, look, there's been more complaints about NBA officiating than the NFL, MLB, you name it. I mean, you know, like I said, free throws are a problem. Like yesterday, Bucks had 34 free throws attempts. Lakers had 16. But just like the no calls and the terrible calls, like it's been like that for years. I mean, NBA has to do something. I mean, just like, you know, Boston like a few years ago. As you guys know, I'm sure you guys seen that game when LeBron went up for a layup. He got fouled around the wrist, no call. You know, multiple calls were, you know, favored against the Boston Celtics, just because, you know, that ref was a Celtics fan. If you guys didn't know,
I remember that.
And then he got banned from the NBA. So, you know, it's just terrible officiating in the NBA, man.
Yeah, it's just, you know, my thing is I'd rather have them not call anything than call it, you know, one-sided. And that goes for my team as well. Like, you know, if I'm pushing for a team and they're getting a one-sided calls, well, I don't feel like they're getting a chance to really play basketball. So I don't enjoy that. I would rather have them not blow the whistle. I think stopping this type of sport, you know, this many times is a detriment to the sport. I think, you know, you're trying to grow, having 35-point leads, being called the national blowout.
Oh, I think Jake froze.
You know, that's probably not going to be great. So, yeah, it's just, you know, it's frustrating. I figured it was worth going over, addressing, because I mean, there are Laker fans that are watching this that are probably like, Thank you. I saw the same thing and no one else is talking about it. And that's why, I wanted to discuss it. I mean, this lead got up to 35 points. I was telling you when it was about a 30-point game, it probably should have been like an 18-point game. But when you're constantly getting put at the free throw line, I mean, so yeah, that was a little frustrating, but also the turnovers, 22 turnovers. Like JJ Redick said, just because we have so-and-so in doesn't give us the right to, just throw the ball away.
Yeah.
So, that was a little frustrating. I thought, Milwaukee did a nice job of controlling the tempo. They had 9 turnovers in this one. They weren't just tossing the ball away every which way. But, I think the disparity to me were like when you're looking at everything, the thing that really set it apart were the fouls. I mean, you're talking about points in the paint. The Bucks had 50, Lakers had 42, but the Bucks get 34 free throws and the Lakers get 16. So it's just clearly it wasn't being called the same way on both sides. And, you see when the Lakers play, in Boston, you can kind of see the home cooking there. It doesn't feel like the Lakers get that level of home cooking at home. So it is kind of funny how that works.
Yeah.
But,
the thing is that, Lakers have a, pretty good home record too. We just snapped a nine-game winning home record last night. But, if we keep this up in the playoffs, we're definitely be hard team to beat. I mean, like I said earlier, we're aiming to have a top 4 seed, so we can at least have one home court advantage series. So, I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping for a top 2 seed, so we can have home court throughout most of the playoffs. But top 4 will be good for me. I mean, for Lakers too, just because we're gonna have a home court and we show the NBA that we already had success on home floor. So
the last thing I really want to touch on, the Western Conference, the playoff picture, the way it looks. OKC's running away with it. No one is going to stop them. The Rockets are number 2. They are 12.5 behind. Denver's number 3, 13.5 behind. The Lakers are 14 behind. They are 4. Memphis is a half game back from the Lakers at 5. Golden State is 2.5 games back from the Lakers at 6. Then you have the play-in game, because you've heard over and over again, JJ Redick has said, I don't want to make the play-in. I want to make the playoffs. So then you have the LA Clippers, 18 games back, 39-30, sitting at 7. Minnesota Timberwolves, 18 games back, sitting at 8. Then you have Sacramento, 22 games back, barely above 500, sitting at 9. And then the Phoenix Suns are 4 games under 500, and they're sitting at 10. Now, keep this in mind. The Dallas Mavericks might be getting Anthony Davis back next week. He's really trying. He's courting his way to play. This would be intriguing because they are tied. Obviously, the Suns have the tiebreaker, but they're currently tied for that 10th spot. And if they get in the play-in game with Anthony Davis healthy, who knows where it goes? Obviously, no Kyrie.
Right.
My question for you here is looking at the Lakers at the 4 seed. I think they're going to be inside that 4 seed, the top 4 seeds.
Yeah.
If they stay healthy, I think they can get up to 2 pretty easily. But who do you most want to play in the first round? Like, looking at this, I mean, I think you're likely going to be getting, I think, Memphis here or Golden State from the looks of it. Now, if you drop out of that 4 spot, things can happen, but I think you kind of have an idea of who they're going to get, but who do you want to play? Because I think personally, when you look at the 2 teams, I think they're very similar. Memphis wins at home. Golden State wins at home. They both have positive road records. Golden State has been atrocious in their division, but that's really that. Aside from that, I think Memphis is a better offensive team. Golden State is a better defensive team. But what say you? Where are you looking at? Because personally, right now, I think I would want to play Memphis because I think Golden State is really hot. Like, I mean, I don't care who the Lakers play in a sense because I feel like they can beat anybody. But if we're talking from terms of just making basketball sense, who do you most want to play?
All right, look. So first round matchup in terms of like matchups and like whatnot, I would probably say Memphis just because we have a better, matchup against them. We can easily win at least 5 or 6 games. But at the same time, I do want to play the Warriors just because we can at least get them out of the way easily and move on to the next round with at least maybe like an easier matchup. But probably Memphis in the first round. But if we get the Warriors, I won't be mad about that either.
Yeah, like my thing is you look at Memphis and it's like Jaren Jackson, who's played very well as of late. He's not anybody that the Lakers can't manage, right? So you have him, and then you have, of course, Ja, and you have Desmond Bane who can kill you from 3. They got some shooters for sure, but I just don't really feel like anybody on this roster and that's really what it comes down to is like when the Lakers are fully healthy, their defense, they can defend anybody. I think the rim protection isn't as good when they had Anthony Davis, but I think Jackson is growing into his own there. I think he is getting to be a better rim protector than he was prior to, taking over. But then you look at the Warriors and it just feels like since they got that Jimmy Butler trade, like they're just a different team. And that's the thing. And that was why, that was such a big deal because, you look at just their ability. You got Draymond Green, who can kind of, he's their glue guy. He can have a huge game. He can have an okay game, but he always kind of knows where to be on the court. He can facilitate. And then, you got Podziemski, who's kind of, back and forth, has some games, kind of doesn't have some games. Moses Moody is back. Stephen Curry, obviously Curry is insane from 3 and he steps up in a big way during, the playoffs. But yeah, Jimmy Butler, facilitator, just like Draymond Green. I think really what it comes down to with this team is, how good is Jonathan Kuminga going to be? Because I think that's kind of the guy that they're waiting to really come back. He's had some injuries. He's back from them. He hasn't looked the best, but I think you're finally starting to see him get a little bit more comfortable. So I think that's really what it depends on. But again, you look at Jimmy Butler, you look at Draymond Green, you look at Steph Curry. I mean, these are guys that can facilitate. When you got that ball movement, they can be a problem as far as the floor spacing is concerned. I mean, Draymond can shoot the 3. He could also miss the 3. He shot 14 the other night and only made 5 of them. Although 5 threes is pretty good, but shooting 14 is pretty wild. I just think, Ethan, when you look at it, I mean, you're absolutely right. You get him out of the way now. I think that also helps morale because you can say that you beat maybe the hottest team in the league. But yeah, it's not going to be easy. I just think that if the Lakers stay healthy, I just don't see a team beating them. And I mean that without bias. I'm just sitting here. Yeah, I'm just sitting here and I'm like trying to think, everybody said, all the experts said when they got Luka, this was a long-term deal. It was like as if he wasn't just in the NBA Finals. It was as if the Lakers didn't already have a decent looking roster. And so, I mean, I think really the big game changer was when they traded away Russell and they got Finney-Smith. Then Vando came back from injury. But then you go and you acquire Luka, and now your defense is better. He's playing better defense. That's another thing.
Especially without AD, man. AD was our, defensive player of the year for 4 years and didn't get a single one of them. But, just spreading the word about that. But, yeah, I mean, defense has been phenomenal ever since the trades. And, we're definitely be moving that on to the playoffs and, hopefully we'll be on June. And I honestly expected that to happen in June, at least game all the June and hopefully 18th banner coming up.
I mean, like I said, it's up to them because I think they have
Lakers. The Lakers will, will either, lose in the playoffs in the first round, which I don't believe, or go to the finals. It's on them. They're the only team that's able to hurt themselves.
Yeah, they just got to stay healthy. They have all the pieces. They have shot creators. They have shot blockers. They have defense, perimeter defense, interior defense. They got great coaching. A guy that's not afraid to flip the script, change what's not working. He's not set in his own ways. I mean, I think JJ Redick 100% has what it takes. Just like I felt like, when they got Vogel, I was like, yeah, Vogel is great for what they're doing. I think Frank Vogel has what it takes. And sure enough, he did. And so, I think JJ Redick, though, when I'm watching him, he feels like special. Like he's already one of the best coaches in basketball. And you could tell, I mean, it sounds tacky, but just from like, if you listen to his podcasts and you listen to him on ESPN, you could just tell this guy just gets it. And
dude,
he's
a freak.
Yeah.
He's a basketball freak. I mean, he knows everything from A to Z in the book. I mean, the guy knows everything. He's a phenomenal basketball mind, and I'm truly grateful he's our coach, man. Everyone likes him on the squad. LeBron obviously likes him because he did a podcast, like you said, and also our supporting cast on the bench with our coaching staff is phenomenal too. All the minds connecting is great for our squad, and obviously your record, Lakers record can show that.
No, definitely. And yeah, we have almost 700 people watching. Once again, just a reminder, be sure to check out our YouTube channel, Downtown Lakers. Subscribe there. We have 229 subscribers. Well, I haven't checked, so maybe we have more. But, we had 229 subscribers last time I checked. And we're just trying to grow this thing, man. We're going to keep doing it every Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. Lakers play tomorrow. They are off today. Last night it was weird. It wasn't the most fun, but I enjoyed watching, these guys that don't get a lot of playing time get a lot of playing time. And so,
yeah,
I do think, again, that is going to have benefits in the future. Whether that is tomorrow or, whatever, I just think getting these guys these reps that you just can't replicate. It's not just Bronny. Any of these guys, these reps, I think is going to go a long way. But that's all I got. You got anything else to add, Ethan?
So we have 13 games left. How many games do you see Lakers winning in 13?
Well, looking at their schedule here, because I want to make sure I make this authentic.
Look, tomorrow we have Bulls, Magic, Pacers, Bulls again, Magic, Rockets, Warriors, Pelicans, OKC twice, Mavs, Rockets, and Portland. So if I had to make a guess out of 13, I would say maybe 9. 8 or 9 out of 13.
Yeah, I was gonna say 9. I think they finished the season 52 wins. And I mean, hey, I'd like to see them win all of them, but that's not.
Yeah.
I don't really think that's likely. I would say they're going to beat Chicago. They're going to beat Orlando. They're going to beat Indiana. They're going to beat Chicago. I think they'll drop that Denver or that Memphis game. And it won't matter because they've already won at that point.
Yeah.
4 straight. So I think they'll. No, you know what? I'll keep them beating Memphis. So yeah, win the next 5.
I say at least we drop one of those games on the back-to-back between Pacers or Bulls, just because we're like coming off the back-to-back 3 times in a row, and I'm sure guys are tired traveling all the time. Yeah, I still stick to 9 games out of 13.
I'm gonna say they drop one of the OKC road games.
Yeah, and that's
one of the Houston games. I'll stick with Memphis, and then. Okay, yeah, I think they win 10. I think they win 53 games. I think they win the rest, but I think they drop one of the Houston games, one of the OKC games, and they drop that one in Memphis. That's what I think. I think they'll beat the Warriors, and I think they'll beat Dallas, and I think they'll beat one of those, OKC games. I think they'll win one of those. So, yeah, it's not a bad schedule. Challenging, but also it's got some moments where you can kind of pull up a little bit and realize, okay, this could be worse. And I think that'll bode well because it's not necessarily a vacation either. You're still going to have to play, tough down to the wire And I think that'll get you ready for the postseason. I mean, you're talking about playing a 45-win Houston Rockets team, second to last game of the year, third to last game of the year. Luka goes back to Dallas. So there's a lot there. I think that'll be on ESPN, by the way. There's a lot there. I am absolutely stunned that Lakers at OKC only has one televised game. I thought they would both
That's
be
what I was thinking too,
televised.
Man. I mean, look, the Sunday game should be like on like ABC, and the Tuesday game should be on like TNT or something, because it's pretty much like the top 3 team in the West, and it's a massive matchup, two games in a row. So I mean, obviously the Mavs game will be on ESPN national TV because it's Luka's return to Dallas. And the Houston game should be on ESPN, but it's on ABC on NBA TV. But yeah.
Well,
another thing I have to say is that I feel like that last week. I feel like if we are like comfortable seating, which is like at least top 4, JJ will start like resting our guys so we can have like more rest to prepare for the playoffs. So it may not be 9 games if that's the case, but hopefully it's at least 9 games.
Hopefully, man. Well, I think that's going to do it. For me, I'm Jake Ellenbogen. You can follow me at JKBogan on all social media. For Ethan, you can follow him at Ethan Shirazi 24. And that is going to do it. So be sure to, if you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe to the Downtown Lakers channel. Again, it's Downtown Lakers over on YouTube. Be sure to leave a comment letting us know that you enjoyed it or whatever you liked and took away from it. And be sure to hit that thumbs up /like button. We'll see you guys next Friday. You guys take care.